Well, a big focus, India and Guyana have firmed up 10 agreements to shore up cooperation in a range of key sectors such as hydrocarbons, digital payment systems, pharmaceutical and defense, following talks between Prime Minister Modi and Guyanese President Mohammad Irfan Ali. Prime Minister Modi has just been bestowed with Guyana's highest national award. It's an Order of Excellence. In fact, Gerald Bryan joins us from Georgetown with the latest.
Okay, so since Prime Minister Modi's arrival in Guyana, today has been a packed day. They have held bilateral discussions and they have signed MOUs. The MOUs center around agriculture, ICT, defense, infrastructure, energy, health, and so forth. They have also had bilateral discussions in the areas of oil and gas. Guyana is an oil and gas producing country. And in the past, India's also bought oil from Guyana. So they've had those kind of discussions. They've had discussions on culture, on agriculture. And as a matter of fact, during the course of the CARICOM India Summit today, the Prime Minister did mention possible collaboration between India and Guyana in areas of culture, film festivals, and so forth. Cricket. Both Guyana and India share that love for cricket, so discussions were held on that as well. Trade in oil, those discussions were held, and both leaders, that is Prime Minister Modi and President Ali, they both recognize the importance of strengthening trade between India and Guyana in the areas of oil and gas, sharing best practices, technology transfer, and possible investments in the gas to energy project. There was even talk about deep water port collaboration when it comes to establishing a deep water port and so on, collaboration in the mining sector, and renewable energy, of course.
Well, switching tracks, in a matter of days, US President Joe Biden's administration and Russia have made separate but significant moves aimed at influencing the outcome of the war in Ukraine, 2 months ahead of Donald Trump's return to the White House. There is a sense of Moscow maximizing its gains and of Biden abandoning long-held red lines before Trump seeks to deliver on his claim to end the war in 24 hours. But several media reports say Ukraine for the first time has fired British Storm Shadow cruise missiles into Russia. Meanwhile, the US shut its embassy in Kyiv out of an abundance of caution due to what it calls the threat of a significant air attack. But Ukraine's military spy agency later said the threat is fake, accusing Russia of trying to sow panic by spreading online rumors about a looming attack. Here are the details.
Of the conflict, full-scale armed attack on Ukraine.
Всех вопросов, связанных с этим конфликтом, это прежде всего Китайская Народная Республика, Бразилия, Индия.
925 days into Europe's longest-running conflict since the Second World War, Russian President Vladimir Putin for the first time expressed interest in finding an end to the conflict. It also put India and Prime Minister Modi at the center of a possible peace solution. One that could be reached at a negotiating table and not on the battleground. In line with its rising global stature, New Delhi has emerged as an important global voice. And since Putin's public outreach, India has opened back-channel talks to both the warring sides. A feat that's almost unique to India and testimony to its multipolar foreign policy. Prime Minister Modi's subsequent trip to Ukraine and the visit to the Children's Hospital in Kiev set the tone for finding an end to a war that has taken a huge human toll.
और मुझे लगता है कि युद्ध की सबसे पहली कैजुअलिटी किसकी होती है तो निर्दोष बालकों की होती है और वो बहुत दर्दनाक होता है। किसी भी समस्या का समाधान रणभूमि में कभी भी नहीं होता है। समाधान का रास्ता बातचीत से ही निकलता है, डायलॉग से निकलता है, डिप्लोमेसी से निकलता है।
With Donald Trump set to be in Oval Office in less than 2 months, India and Prime Minister Modi's role in bringing the two sides on the negotiating table may become even more significant. More so since ending the war is part of Donald Trump's Day One agenda. And what may come in handy in finding early and mutually agreeable solutions to the war is the personal rapport between Prime Minister Modi and President-elect Donald Trump. Bureau Report, NDTV.
And after completing 1,000 days of the Russia-Ukraine war, in fact, on that occasion, Vishal spoke with Alexander Dugin on how Trump's America will be different to Biden's and how Trump's return will impact the Ukraine war. Listen in.
It's been more than 1,000 days of the war. What do you think is Russia's long-term strategy now that it's been, so many days?
So our strategy is very clear. We are fighting for liberation of Ukraine from the pro-NATO, pro-Western, occupational, Nazi, illegitimate government. So that is for us a kind of third patriotic war. First patriotic war was against Napoleon. The second patriotic war was against Hitler. And that is third patriotic war against globalism, against NATO, against Western hegemony. And to put it short, I think that for us that is a kind of holy war. That is, Ukraine is not enemy. Neither West. West is not main enemy. The main enemy that is globalist, hegemonic elite that tries to destroy all traditional values, that tries to destroy humanity, human dignity, families, genders, political orders, and that is precisely demonic force. As we have said today in our conference, that is the fight between multipolar world order that represent Mr. Putin and unipolar world order that represents Biden, but not Trump. In our eyes, Trump is innocent. Trump's America will be different. That is why they try.
How different would that be? Now that you mentioned Trump,
nobody knows, but we will see. But we see a kind of agony of wounded dragon in Biden's decision to let use.
he has said that he will stop the war in a day. Do you believe in that proposition?
No,
will that be possible?
Naive. That is impossible. That is naive. We appreciate much more his will to stop it. His absence of decisiveness to lead it until total strategical defeat of Russia. So never Trump proposed something like that. But I think he doesn't understand well the nature of this conflict. But we have with Trump, and that is important point, the same enemies. His main enemy is not Russia, neither China, nor Iran, but inner globalist sect of United States that have almost destroyed the United States, all the traditional values of American society, woke ideology, gender politics, transhumanism. That is the main orientation of the Biden's Democrats' politics. George Soros. We consider George Soros a Ravana, demon of with whom Rama fought. So that is the global evil for Trump, for Putin, and I think for humanity. So that is why maybe Trump has no plan at all how to stop the conflict, and we will fight until the end in this holy war for us, because for us it is existential. Maybe Trump considered that as kind of business deal.
So it also brings me to a very important day, the 1000th day, and that also marked, a significant escalation in the sense that Ukraine has now started using those long-range weapons. So do you think that is a significant, inflection point in the war?
I hope we could avoid nuclear weapon, but Biden want to start it.
Let's turn our attention now to the UK, where the Delhi-based family of Harshita Brella, the 24-year-old, found dead in a car boot in East London recently, have called for justice as the UK police continue to hunt for her husband as a suspect in a murder and renewed their appeal for information. In fact, Northamptonshire police released further CCTV images along with a timeline that identifies November 10th as the evening that she was killed at her home in Corby, with the preliminary cause of death given as strangulation, allegedly by 23-year-old Pankaj Lamba. Here's the latest report.
In the months prior to her murder, Harshita Brella had been the subject of a court order designed to protect victims of domestic violence. Now, police have released images of the man they believe killed her husband, Pankaj Lamba.
Our inquiries lead us to suspect that Harshita was murdered in Northamptonshire earlier this month by her husband, Pankaj Lamba. We suspect he transported Harshita's body from Northamptonshire to Ilford by car. We now believe he has fled the country.
Police won't say where they think Lamba has gone, but they are gathering evidence from crime scenes 100 miles apart to try to work out where and when she was killed. On Wednesday, police were called to her home in Corby in Northamptonshire after concerns were raised about her welfare. When they came to check on her here, officers say there was no answer. Close neighbours describe the home as a house of multiple occupancy with a number of people living here, but they say they didn't know Harshita. On Thursday, her body was found in the boot of a car in Ilford in East London. Police also cordoned off a second location in Corby, close to Harshita's home. A neighbour who didn't want to be identified said she'd seen her there.
I've heard a lot of shouting, a lot of banging around, a male or female arguing, raised voices, like furniture being thrown. She seems like a lovely young woman. She seems laid back and everything. It's just a shame to lose the lovely girl.
The Northamptonshire Force have referred themselves to the police watchdog, the IOPC, due to the previous contact they'd had with Harshita, as an international manhunt is launched to find her husband. Lisa Dowd, Sky News, Northamptonshire.
Meanwhile, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh held bilateral talks with his Chinese counterpart, Admiral Dong Jun, in Laos. Rajnath Singh's meeting comes weeks after New Delhi and Beijing reached an agreement to break the border impasse by actually agreeing to pull their troops along the line of actual control to the pre-2020 position, the year that saw a deadly clash between forces of both nations in Galwan. Now, in the meeting held on the sidelines of the 11th ASEAN Defence Ministers meeting, Mr. Singh also called for reflecting on the lessons that have been learnt from the unfortunate border clashes of 2020, taking measures to prevent a repeat and safeguarding peace and tranquility along the India-China border. In fact, our Defence Minister further added that the border issues could not be decoupled from the overall bilateral relationship. And meanwhile, Donald Trump picked former acting U.S. Attorney General Matt Whitaker as the U.S. ambassador to NATO, a key role given the president-elect's vow to reassess the transatlantic alliance. Now, Whitaker actually lacks foreign policy experience, making him an unknown in U.S. security circles, some analysts argue. But Whitaker has a legal and criminal justice background rather than one focused on foreign policy and national security, yet he's poised to take over an important position for US global affairs. So if confirmed, he will be leading the US mission to NATO at a time when the alliance is grappling over how to continue supporting Ukraine. In fact, a Gallup poll conducted before Trump was elected showed Ukrainians are souring on US leadership and losing hope of joining NATO within the next 10 years. Hoping to regain broader US support, Ukraine officials are actually traveling to rural American communities and portraying Trump as a potentially positive force for Kyiv, as per many local US media reports. And as the world debates Donald Trump's re-election bid, one village on the Italian island of Sardinia sees a unique opportunity. Now, this village, like many rural Italian towns, has struggled with depopulation for years, but to turn things around, it's been offering rundown homes for just €1. That's about $1, to entice new residents and breathe life back into the community. In fact, the mayor of a small town in Sardinia has said thousands of Americans keen to escape Donald Trump have expressed an interest in moving there after he offered homes to them for as little as €1. Following the November 5th vote outcome in the United States, a little Italian village has now launched this website that you see on the right side of your screens, aimed at would-be American expats, offering up more cheap homes in the hope that those upset by the result in the US will rush to snap up one of its empty properties that are advertised on this website on your screens. As always, news and updates continue in a moment. Don't go anywhere. In news from the US now, powerful storms slammed Northern California, toppling trees, disrupting highways and transit, and leaving tens of thousands without power. In just a few hours, some areas actually saw days' worth of rain. The intense downpour, which swept through the Pacific Northwest overnight and claimed at least 2 lives, is expected to last through the weekend. And this marks the season's first major atmospheric river, which is a storm system that can unleash massive amounts of water in a concentrated band stretching from the Pacific Ocean. And finally, in a historic move, Punjabi music artist Shubh has been appointed as the first ever global ambassador for the UNFCCC Digital Climate Library. Indian-Canadian singer Shubh has made history by becoming the first musician from India to be the global ambassador for climate advocacy, and he joins a distinguished list of global celebrities including David Beckham, Coldplay, BTS, Billie Eilish, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, who collaborate with the UNFCCC on climate change initiatives. Thank you so much for investing your time and watching this edition of The World 24/7. As always, we'll keep tracking the latest for you. Do stay tuned.